Welcome back.
We're back.
Yeah. The second episode in our late 2020 series entitled Where the Hell Have You Been?
We're so close to this year being in the bag.
Yeah, it's going to be nice. It's going to be very nice when this is all kind of calmed down a bit, if it ever does. We could talk about how Disney had, about a couple of weeks ago at this point, released its slate of shows and movies and things like that that you could look forward to. Honestly, I was surprised at just how much content they were having. I was like, okay, this really indicates to me that they are not just doubly or triply, going. How would you say that? Doubling down, tripling down, quadrupling down.
They're fully vested. They are.
That sounds more appropriate.
I believe the industry term is balls to the wall.
Balls to the wall.
That's what's
Yeah.
been floating around the Disney camp. Yeah.
So, I mean, they're laying off employees at the parks and all other
Yeah.
places, which is very unfortunate. But
I wonder. Yeah. I mean, they'll be back. I don't know if. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but
yeah,
again, when Disney's back to where it was, they will have to hire people. It may not be the same people, unfortunately. I don't think they're furloughing them; they're literally laying them off. But
right. Yeah, it was just bad. And like I think we had told you when we came over for one of those socially distant gatherings.
it has happened.
Yeah. Um,
We do socialize outside of this job, outside of
we
work at the studio.
right at the studio. We just don't film anything at the studio.
No.
Um, we did go to Disney. We went to downtown Disney, and it's pretty safe. I mean, it felt this is before California was in that like the worst aspects of COVID.
It's the golden days of July, August, when things seemed like we were kind of heading back towards normal
Yeah,
because the weather was nice and warm and
Mhm.
cases had gone down.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are the good old days of
Good old
summertime.
yeah. Mid-year slump, I guess.
And now here we are back again.
Full force, worse than before. But when we went to Disney, it was enjoyable, but it was also kind of sad too because of just like that's when they had started to lay people off, and it was like that sucks. But their content department seemingly has not laid anybody off. If anything, it seems like they are full steam ahead and just
Do you think? Sorry, side
yeah,
question.
yeah.
Do if you're an employee of Disney, are your signs checked by or are your signs your checks signed by Mickey Mouse? That totally messed up that delivery.
No, I get it. Yeah, I think they are.
They have to keep that illusion going, right?
They do. They're like, I mean, Walt Disney has stated, like, this whole thing was started because of a mouse. So it seems only right.
He should be signing the checks.
He should be. But yeah, for those that are still working, that are getting their checks signed by Disney, Mickey Mouse, that is.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at the slate of content, just, I mean, I'm not going to read all of it, but
I mean, I'll check out the Obi-Wan show. I know that.
right, like WandaVision, so that's a Marvel thing. Loki, Marvel. What If? I'm not sure what If is. Falcon and Winter Soldier, Marvel, Hawkeye, as if he needed a show.
The character nobody cares about. He's like the Legolas of the Marvel world, but whereas in Lord of the Rings, the elves were badasses. Here in the Marvel world, you're like, well, he's got a bow and arrow, no biggie.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's that kind of thing where he still fights. He's cool.
He does things.
He's like, oh, is that guy still on that team? Oh, that's great. What's his name? Is Robin? Is that his name? Hawkeye. Oh, jeez. I feel so bad. But yeah, with all of the shows that are coming out, it's really obscene how many shows there are. There's a Lando series. more Star Wars, just lots of Star Wars stuff. Rangers of the New Republic,
Wow.
Andor, um, just like Star Wars: The Bad Batch. I think I
What?
saw a trailer for that. I'm telling you, they are. There's a list of 30 things here. Willow TV series.
Oh,
Looking forward to that.
that got your attention, I'm sure.
I want that. I do like that. There's a Turner and Hooch series. Fine. Mighty Ducks. We
Oh,
have a little bit of experience with that. Obi-Wan, of course. So
and they got Ewan, right? He's back.
I believe so. Yeah. All of
See,
these
for
things.
that one, yeah, maybe they cast a young actor to play like a young Luke in the Obi-Wan series.
I think I had seen something about that. But you know what? It's like everything else. That's just this speculation, and unless it's set in stone. Like when we a very popular thing we were talking about. I don't know if it's popular, but something that was popular, at least in my mind, on our show was Indiana Jones. Like at this point, I could really care less. But they're like, no, he's confirmed. Indy 5, 80 years old. Good for him. It's like, right. And I made this joke. We probably had already said this, but like if he goes into a tomb, he's like, I'm home, because that's a joke referencing his age. See?
Oh, I didn't realize that was not to
Also
be taken
referencing
literally.
also referencing how fresh that joke is.
Yeah,
So it's a win-win.
it's been a while.
It's really embarrassing. Pre-pandemic, talking about how TV shows, or at least um, TV like things, like on the streaming services, would be they're very popular. They're going to take over. This is before movie theaters were effectively killed in their sleep, and nowadays we're looking at just like all this content coming from Disney,
Hmm.
from Netflix, from I don't know, like HBO, Amazon, every service, right? Apple. I don't know about Apple. I haven't seen anything from
I don't. Yeah, we don't have. That's the one service we don't have. That in HBO actually, we don't have HBO or Apple.
them. Hmm.
But we pretty much have everything else. And it seems like, well, what was the studio? Was it Paramount or whoever that just said they're going to release their entire catalog via streaming and all the theaters
Probably
replaced?
Paramount and Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers.
Yeah,
Um,
everything on HBO Max and theaters at the same time.
mhm.
And it's like, you know what? Maybe this is the way it's going to be,
It sped things up for sure.
for sure.
Um,
Um,
and it gave the studios the out because the studios were kind of beholden to the theaters.
mhm,
But now they're like, look, we got no choice. We're just going to roll it out and
mhm.
deal with it. So,
But there are a lot of good things on these streaming services, and I know both of us had seen um, Cobra Kai. I didn't pay any attention to it when it was on YouTube,
nobody did.
whatever, Red or Premium or whatever it is back then or now. Yeah, but having to move over to Netflix, I think I probably watched all of them within I don't know, the span of like a couple weekends, and it's an interesting show to say the least. What
We
did what
took
did
our
what did you think of it?
we took our time. We watched it over probably 2 months.
Huh?
Really liked it. I mean, it's ridiculous, and that's part of its charm.
Yeah.
It is, very referential, a lot of 80s references, very self-referential. The first season, especially, they used a lot of clips from the original movies, and that's kind of how they tried to, I guess, explain to those or show to those people who are new to the series and don't really know much about Karate Kid, at least the originals.
Mhm.
It was really good, and we really enjoyed it. I really love the Johnny character. I think there's just so much that he's just such I mean, as deep as that character can be, he's pretty deep.
Mhm.
More interesting than Daniel. Um, it definitely turns into like a high school drama show in the second season, which is fine. Um, but honestly, my biggest complaint is when what's his face shows up. Um,
Oh,
John
Crease.
Kreese. Yeah,
Yeah.
I pretty much not pretty much, but I don't like that character, and I feel like I understand why they want to bring him back, and now seeing where it could possibly go, it's fine. But I really just was kind of annoyed with the introduction of that character because I was so invested into seeing where Johnny was going
Mhm.
and how it would play out. But then Kreese came back and made his power move, and um, so yeah, he was definitely our least favorite character and the least favorite kind of turn that the series took that we liked, or it was the least favorite thing that we liked about it, I should say.
Mhm.
Definitely going to watch season 3. Um, but it's one of those kind of just very quick. You could watch 3 or 4 episodes back to back because they're so ridiculous and it goes by very quickly. Um, so I liked it. We enjoyed it for what it is, and it's just a ridiculous show trying to bring back a 1980s movie that people our age are familiar with, but um, maybe less so with the people that have only seen the reboots or whatever
Mhm.
those were.
Mhm.
Um, but I like it for what it is, and we will definitely watch season 3. It's coming soon in a couple of weeks, I think. So January.
Yeah. Yeah. January is when that's coming out, as far as we know, and I know that I had watched the show more than Kelly did. Um, she had kind of like seen a few episodes of it, and she's like, "Oh, that's kind of interesting." I mean, well, because like talking about like the 1980s, talking about the Valley,
Hmm.
and these locations are like supposedly not far from where we are.
Yeah,
Um, but then I had seen that they filmed a lot of it in Georgia, so it's kind
I
of like
think
I feel like the dealership is in Georgia. You know.
the strip malls are definitely in the valley. At
Uh
least
huh.
the exterior shots, obviously. That
Right.
those are easy and cheap to film. But yeah, all those like in jokes. There's a lot of jokes about LA in there, and
Mm-hmm.
especially the valley, and just Johnny being so kind of tech technologically inept in the beginning as the series goes on, and then him trying to learn social media and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
those things again, easy jokes,
Yeah.
but I think really says something about the strength somewhat of the acting in that. Again, I have no problems with Daniel Russo. I think he's fine, but he really just kind of takes like a back seat to Johnny in the whole thing, which is great. So
He does. Um, I the whole thing about notwithstanding, I do like the show. I like the character of Johnny. I want him to be redeemed. I think that would
mhm.
be nice. I think he's already kind of seen the. I mean, he definitely saw the error of his ways at the end of the second season.
Yeah,
Um, but as far as the character of Larusso, it's like he hasn't really had much to do. Honestly, I feel like he's the status quo guy. He's the straight man
hmm
to everybody else, and then you start to see him crack a bit. But he's like on this path. But it'd be great to see him. I don't know. I mean, this is pretty standard, but kind of like get darker or get more vindictive. Like he's kind of vindictive, but like just really see him like
hmm
go past the point or really come to that point of like, if you do this, it's over. Like you have succumbed to like the worst
the dark side.
impulses. Yeah. I did want to say that because I was like, I can do this. I don't have to resort to Star Wars terminology. But the character of Kreese, yeah, it's just kind of like one quick to his throat could have not. He could have ended him. It's like self defense. Johnny
And
could have just done it. Come on.
yeah, and you see like again, they kind of did the old bait and switch where it seems like he's redeemed when Johnny finds him at the homeless shelter and you start to feel bad for him. You're like, all right, we've come full circle. But then all of a sudden, nope, doesn't happen. So that's when I was like, ugh, all right, I'm kind of over this. But
Yeah,
if that means that these two now have to figure something out to take him down, I'm willing to go along with it. But you're going to have to deliver a lot at this point because it's really just
right.
become a show about the kids, which is fine. But I think Miguel's good. I like the actor that plays Miguel. He's pretty good.
Hmm.
Robbie's fine. It'll be interesting to see where he goes. I really like Dimitri. He's probably one of my favorites now. The guy that stood up, Dimitri's kind of the dorky kid that finally joins Miyagi Dojo at the end.
Right.
Um,
Right. The one
he's
that's
Hawk.
complaining.
Yeah, he's Hawk's friend, and now he kind of stands up and defeats Hawk somehow at the end of season 2,
Hmm.
punches him through a glass trophy case. Um, so I really like that actor at least. I know the character is very predictable, but
Hmm.
yeah, I mean it's just a really kind of simple, funny, forget your problems show for 30 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. I,
That just got to happen to be lucky, and its success is a result of kind of the times that we're in. So
yeah. I, I don't fully enjoy all of the high school drama aspects of it.
it's a bit much. It is for sure.
And I do become much more interested in the story when it is between Daniel and Johnny. And
Yeah.
that seems to that holds my interest pretty much the entire time. The high school stuff, it's kind of like I don't have anything bad to say about any of the actors in there. It's just like but I like the whole like you know, West Side Story, Romeo and Juliet kind of
Hmm.
thing that's going on here. If only people had like listened like an extra second longer, they could have understood that it was all a misunderstanding. Just like consistently,
Yeah.
wait, what happened? Oh, I didn't pay. Oh, I'm letting my anger. Oh, geez, I'm letting my anger get in the way
Well,
of what is going on.
that and the fact that it's like it's so obvious that no kids today, no modern kids would be that interested in karate, like to begin with. Like who cares about karate? Like especially now with like MMA, nobody does karate, but all of a sudden like not only are like these group of kids into it, but there's like a whole like rivalry between these two karate schools. And like when you stop and think about that, you realize how ridiculous it is, but that's kind of the point. So in that
Yeah,
regard, it's kind of genius. They're totally mocking karate in a sense as well. And like no modern kids would care about karate. Nobody cares.
yeah.
Um, but
Who
within a few
cares?
months, not only are all these kids into it, but they're all experts too, which is amazing.
Right, right.
They progressed very rapidly in that show.
All of them. This,
Yeah.
to the point where their fight at the end of season 2 in that school was so well
It
choreographed.
was so dumb, but so well choreographed. I agree.
Yeah,
I could not look away. I was like, this is so dumb, and this would never happen. But this is actually pretty good. The way they
yeah.
pulled it off, like the little
They,
kids fighting, and then like security part guard punching kids and stuff. And yeah,
and
there's a
oh,
lot of good stuff, and it only works because they don't take it seriously. So
exactly. Uh, it's the right mindset for the show, and like
mhm.
it's not entirely comedic. There are moments of real like poignancy,
Yep.
and like there's some emotion that's like you know as a person that grew up watching, like honestly, I really didn't care about the third movie, and I don't know it very well.
I
The
don't even
first movie I
I don't
saw,
even see it. Yeah.
yeah, the third one is like I don't really know. I saw it once or twice. I remember the only scene that really sticks out for me. There are two of them. Is when Daniel has rappelled down a cliff to dig out a bonsai plant and or tree, and someone was like taunting him, is like going to cut the rope or throw the plant or the the thing over the cliff. I don't know, something like that.
Mhm.
Obviously, you can see I just like totally in there. And then the head bad guy who is like working with Crease, um, he gets kicked, I believe, by Miyagi, and then a bunch of paint falls on top of him. So he's embarrassed. And that's
Right.
about all I remember. The second one, I tried to rewatch it, and I was like,
I
it's not
really only
great.
I know the first one. I remember there's the he gets hit by like a crane thing or something, or he's like swinging from something in the second one, I think, or he's like standing on a I don't know. See,
I
I really only know the first one.
The scene I like the most from the second one is that they go into this like a bar, and there's a game where they have to like break this ice. It's like
Mm.
sheets of
Yeah,
ice.
they reference that in the in this season. Yeah.
Exactly. And then basically like that whole thing that happens in there, if I remember, is like they spend all this time building it up, and then once he does it, but like the power goes out,
Hmm.
and it's like no one cares that he did
Yeah.
this, and then Johnny breaks the bricks
Yeah.
with the that are on fire or something like that. Which to me is more indicative of that movie Sidekicks. I don't know if you ever saw that one with Chuck
No, but
Norris.
I'm familiar with it. I have not seen it though.
They did that in there. And that was the first movie that I had seen where Joe Piscopo, if you remember him,
He was a big dude. He worked out a lot.
yeah, like he went from being like Mr. Comedian, like normal, like average human build into like karate expert, kung fu expert,
Yeah.
and just in that movie, he's still being a goofball, but it's a huge ripoff of Karate Kid. I don't know. That's what that reminded me of, but it's all silly.
He used to have a that Sinatra character on SNL. He was on there with Eddie Murphy. Yeah,
That's
he was
right.
like
Yeah.
supposed to be a huge star, but it never really worked out. He just couldn't. It didn't translate into film, if I
No.
remember. Yeah,
No.
but yeah, he got all jacked in the mid '80s. I remember.
And that whole thing though about, but you're right. You have to be in the right mindset. You have to just kind of be in on the joke. It's like it's self-referential. It's trying to forge a new path. It's showing that like people need to grow up. People need to let things go. Even the episode when Johnny regroups with his like old pals,
Hmm.
and even all of them are kind of like reformed. That one guy's like a preacher,
Hmm.
or he's religious, and the other guy's dying, which then he died.
Right.
That was
There's
messed up.
the cancer episode. Yeah,
Yeah.
they go out
Um,
drinking for one last beer.
yeah, but all of them, I mean, they get into their little fight in the bar, um, which they had to do. I mean, you have to do that.
Hmm.
But all of them just like, oh, Crease is back. Oh God.
Hmm.
Oh no, he's
He's like,
bad
no,
news,
he's
Johnny.
changed. He's changed.
I don't know, Johnny. I don't know. He was bad news.
Hmm.
So all of them, those kids, they freaked me out when I was younger. Like watching them, just like thinking of like bullies. Like they looked perfect casting
Oh yeah.
of bullies. Fantastic job that they did.
It's a good movie. Again, I don't know, I haven't seen it in a long time, but it was one of those that I really liked as a kid. It wasn't up there with like Indiana Jones or
No.
Star Wars, but I probably watched it at least a dozen times as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So I really liked it. Um, so but yeah, it was a very well cast movie and a well made movie, which I think still holds up. But again, I haven't watched it in a while. I haven't really don't know too much about parts 2 or 3. And I guess there's a part 4, right? With is it Hillary Swank or something?
Yeah, that was. I think Pat Morita was still in there, but just different character. I did not watch that, and I watched the Jaden Smith one, which I know we must have talked about either on the show or outside, where it's like the Karate Kid, but there's no karate in the movie at all. It's all
Nobody
kung fu.
it's one of those movies that it made money, but nobody cared and nobody talked about it ever again. So
Yeah, yeah. It's not a terrible movie. It's just they they
it's unnecessary.
it's like I don't know. I mean, I understand why you would make something like that, but it's not going to have any kind of legs. But yeah, I'm looking forward to season 3. Just I guess Miguel will. I don't know. He's probably still in traction. Is he gonna
I
die? I don't know.
I actually I already watched the trailer for season 3,
Hmm.
and they seem to be hinting that he's going to be getting better quickly in this season. So
Very good.
I think he's at least awake, is what they were kind of hinting at.
Okay. All
So,
right. Yeah.
but
I haven't seen the trailer. I'm doing that more now. I'm trying not to watch uh, trailers for things that I would like to see, um, or reading any kind of like spoilers. There's plenty that I don't want to see, so I'm watching those trailers, but
sure,
and then being disappointed and being
it
like,
just
who cares?
they just who cares?
Who
They just
cares?
yeah, it just came out this past week,
Right.
and I guess they announced they were dropping. It's dropping a little bit earlier than they were originally planning. So
Fantastic. Um,
everyone's very excited, I guess.
very excited. We're very excited. What about so like TV, right? Obviously
Sure.
TV. But what about movies, right? We briefly talked about how, you know, um, before pandemic, movies where they're going to go now the pandemic has happened and movie theaters are shut down, so people are watching movies at home and yeah, I think there's actually been some fairly good things that have come out, like respectable directors, saying like, oh yeah, I will make something for Netflix or an Amazon, and in the film format, not an episodic TV show.
Hmm.
But what about Coming to America? Like, what's the deal with that? Is that coming out to theaters or is that a
That
streaming
is,
only?
it is. It's going to Netflix. So it was supposed to be, obviously, it was originally going to go into theaters, but
Hmm.
it is being distributed by Netflix now. They
Okay.
paid a lot of money for the distribution rights. As you know, and you are aware,
Hmm.
I'm a big fan of the original. I would consider it to be one of the best comedies in the 80s, certainly one of the best Eddie Murphy movies, in my
Hmm.
opinion.
Hmm.
Top three for sure. Probably my number one. It's just the movie that I've seen the most. I saw it twice in the theater, Andrew. Twice. Once with my mom, mind you, um, not knowing what we were getting into. Yeah, I saw that with my mom in the 80s. Um, So, but I love that original movie. You just have so many great characters, some great scenes. It's very much kind of like in the vein of Trading Places, that same kind of humor and just silliness,
Hmm.
fish out of water type
Hmm.
scenario.
Yeah.
So I mean, possibly because of the pandemic, I'm definitely more interested in this movie and this sequel than I normally would be in sequels that are 25 years in the making or even more than that. When did
Hmm.
that 89? So it's like 30 years, right?
88, but yeah,
88,
yeah.
32 years ago that movie came out. It's insane. But I haven't really been following it too much. And to their credit, there really haven't been too many leaks. We really don't know what the plot is yet. There's like a basic premise online that you could find, but they've kept it pretty close to their jackets, I guess. Is that the saying? Close to my jacket,
Close to the vest.
close to the vest.
Yeah.
Um,
I like
but this
jackets
week,
better. It's
jacket
cool.
close to my jacket. I'm keeping it in the jacket. Um, but this week they did there were some photos that were official photos that were released, and pretty much everyone that's still alive is back from the original cast. All the major players are there.
Hmm.
Um, but it'll be interesting. It's pretty. You could predict the plot. It's very similar, not very similar, but it's kind of close to what we were talking about when we did our crossover episode many years
Yeah.
ago. But basically, his father, King Joffrey Joffre, is dying, like we had
Hmm.
said in our plot. So Akeem is about to become the new king, but he finds out that he has a son that he did not know about in America. So whether I guess he had a one night stand or something with a woman allegedly played by Leslie Jones. So he has to travel back to the United States to find his son. And then, of course, hilarity ensues. I don't know much else. But again, most, if not everyone that was in the original is coming back and reprising their roles in this second one. So it'll be interesting. I'm not expecting much, but I will definitely watch it when it is released next
Hmm.
year.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I hope it's good. I just don't think, sequels, especially in this kind of scenario, are ever going to end up being as good as you would want them to be. So Eddie still looks like Eddie. He's a little bit heavier, but I mean, that guy does not age either. I mean,
Is he dressing up in multiple as multiple characters
oh yes.
anymore?
So all of the barbershop guys are back. So I saw those pictures. They look, I mean, that'll be easy to that'll be
He's
easy to
so
do
old.
because they were already old. Um, so it'll be one of those. It's going to be a nostalgia trip, and there's going to be a few scenes where I'm like, oh, I really miss this movie or these characters at least, and it's good to see him back in modern times. But it's not gonna be that movie that I revisit and love like the first one, which is typically what happens with most sequels, but not all.
I'm
Um,
I'm kind of curious now though, because you said that Eddie Murphy had a one night stand with Leslie Jones. That
from the premise that I've read, and again, we don't know much because they've been close, holding it close to their jackets. We
right,
don't know really what's going
so
on.
to speak,
The winter jackets, they're very thick, so it's hard for the information to escape.
to get out, like a
Yes,
mask. If you wear it like a cotton mask, it's hard for the
exactly,
particles to get out.
exactly.
I got it.
That's what I was going with.
Um, well, I'm glad I picked up on that.
It could be wrong, but that's what I've read. So he had a one night stand. He now has a son that he has to go find. The son's mother is Leslie Jones. His uncle is played by Tracy Morgan. One of the main antagonists, like an African warlord that's trying to like steal Akeem's throne, which
Uh huh.
again we predicted in our crossover movie,
Sure.
is played by Wesley Snipes, which I'm actually very excited to see because I love Wesley Snipes. I think
Yeah.
he's a very underrated actor. And he's a funny. He can do comedy. That's what I like about Wesley Snipes. He's an action star, but he can be funny.
Yeah.
Um, so I think the cast is great, but I'm also worried there's a lot of celebrity cameos, people playing themselves, people that want to just be in this movie,
Hmm.
that want to hang out with Eddie and be a part of Coming to America too. So I think it kind of runs the risk of turning into that self-congratulatory. All my friends show up and hang out on the set, and I can put them in my movie type thing.
So it's an
So
Adam Sandler movie.
exactly. That's what I was looking for, basically.
Okay.
Um,
Well, I can
so,
I
but
can
again,
understand why Netflix would want that. Then.
the
It's
difference
their
being that that at least Coming to America is good source material because I think it's a clever story, not a supremely original, but at least clever and well handled. So the source material is good, whereas with Adam Sandler, not so much. You know,
well,
there's only so many only so many fart jokes you can do. But
that's true. That's
um,
true. But it sounds kind of weird to me because the Eddie Murphy character Akeem was such a how can I put this? I don't want to say wholesome, but I feel like he was
you're
a wholesome character.
he was. You're right.
And
So
for him to like, he wanted to go after.
he was supposed to go
Um,
sow his royal oats. That's what his father told him to do. Go sow your royal oats. So maybe they're playing off of that one little thing. So maybe
yeah,
he did have a couple of one night stands, but that's obviously probably going to cause tension with the queen, with his wife, who finds out that he has an illegitimate son in America. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle that and how they handle that timing. Like, did it happen in the original movie? Did he actually hook up with some people while he was out there and we didn't know about it? And maybe he's not as wholesome as we thought. So are they going to do some revisionist history here? I don't know. It's not going to, I don't know. It's probably going to not make me as happy as it should, but we'll see.
if we're ever in a shortage of material, we could retcon everything we did previously.
It's kind of what we were doing on our old show.
Not that we don't do that right. Well,
Well,
not
look,
recently.
we've been talking for I don't know, like 80 minutes now or something, and we've literally not covered one original like IP. Like they're all old. Like
Yeah, yeah,
uh we've covered The Mandalorian, which I guess is new, but Star Wars is not. Cobra
yeah,
Kai, which is based on Karate Kid, and now we're on Coming to America, which is coming the number two America
yeah. I saw that.
to be clever. Yes.
It kind of, that does remind me of the Tim Allen movie, Jungle to Jungle.
Mm,
They did that for no reason really, because it wasn't the second movie.
that doesn't make
It
any
was just
sense.
no. It makes no sense.
Like everyone else, I'm just happy to see Arsenio Hall getting work again. And I hear Don Amici's back for this one as well. Is that the
Oh,
act? Is that the actor?
yeah, he's dead though.
He's 128 years old, ladies and gentlemen. There is another Trading Places reference in this one.
That's
Um,
great. That's
I
uh,
don't know.
what would it be?
The Duke
Dan
brothers'
Dan
children. The
Aykroyd.
Duke. Yeah. Oh, they could. Oh, I hope Dan Aykroyd is in this movie.
oh,
That would be so great.
oh my god.
They'll find a way to shoehorn him in there.
Yeah, they'll lure him in. They're like, hey, So I see Eddie calling him up. He's just like, hey Dan, what's up? They're like, Eddie. Dan, would you like to be in a movie? It's a Coming to America sequel. All you have to do is just talk about aliens and supernatural stuff. Eddie, I'll do this for you. Great.
And your Crystal Skull vodka.
Yeah, bring plenty of that because we're all gonna need it.
We're gonna need it. I'm gonna predict this right now. Dan Aykroyd will be in it. He will be playing his character from Trading Places, and he is going to be a connection that Prince Hakeem has as a trader in the stock exchange.
Gotcha.
He's gonna make things happen for Prince Hakeem. He's gonna reach out to him for a favor.
Very good.
I'm putting that out there. It's on wax.
We'll be in touch. I'll send you some updates about how this all went, and then hopefully I can master YouTube, and then we'll see what's up.
Sounds good.
Cool, man.
All right, man.
Have a good one. Take care.
Talk to you soon. Yep.